Welcome. This video is about creating your first virtual machine with XCP-ng host using Xen Orchestra, the Community Edition. My name is Christoph. Welcome to Home Tiny Lab. If you are going to the URL of your XCP-ng host that you have created, if you don't know how to create your XCP-ng host, I've made a video about how to do this, and I will put the link down in the description. So when you go to the IP address to type into your browser of your XCP-ng host, you will come to this page. And there you have a link to the quick deploy of Xen Orchestra appliance, but there you are limited in time to use it. You have about 30 days, I think. Then you could also use the command line interface with the XE command. There you will have to go to the console or go to an SSH session to your XCP-ng host to use this command. For example, I just lost the connection. I will open a new connection to the XCP-ng host. So this is an SSH session that I will open with PuTTY. And you could also do it from the console. So for example, it's with root. So you are logged in your XCP-ng host, and with the XE command, you could create a VM or create other resources. Let's type help, and so you have a list with the instructions that you could use at the command line interface. There is also another interesting command, xs console, that gives you what you see in console mode when you have a monitor directly attached to your XCP-ng host, and that gives you a quick overview of what you have configured and how and what's running. You could see virtual machines, auto and BIOS information. You can see the processor that you are using and system memory that is used, and other interesting stuff. So escape. You have to quit here, and you are back in command line interface. But that's an whole other story. There is a third option that's not in this, that you cannot find in this page. That's the Windows application. So there you need to have a Windows system like I'm using, and there you can install the client to manage your XCP-ng environment. You can see here's a notification. If you click on it, I know already what it is, but it's a new version that's available of the XCP-ng Center software. If you go here, you can click here to go to web page, and it will set you to the page where you can download the latest version of XCP-ng Center. So if people are interested in using this client, please let me know in the comments. I will make a video about it. If people want to know how to use this Windows client software. So I will close this for the moment. And there is another thing that needs to be done. You will need to have a share somewhere. It can be on your Windows workstation, or in my case it's on TrueNAS Core. I have a share, an SMB share, where I put all my virtual machine ISOs on. So I use this for my XCP-ng environment and for my TrueNAS core when I want to install virtual machines. So let's go back to the main screen and let's go to Xen Orchestra. So if you want to know how to install Xen Orchestra appliance from source, I will put again a link in the description where you can find my tutorial on how to install Xen Orchestra Community Edition. So I have already created my own account in Xen Orchestra with my own password. Let's sign in. This is the first screen that you will see when you log in for the first time and you have nothing configured. So here you can see this version is not bundled with any support nor updates. Use it with caution. So if you want to update this, you will have to reinstall it from source or update the image appliance. Like you can see in my video, there is a link to the page where they explain it. So the first thing we will do is adding a server. So our XCP-ng host, you can give it a label. XCP-ng host to make it simple. The IP address that you have entered when you have configured your XCP-ng host. The username to connect with it, its roots, and the password that you have entered when you installed it, and connect. Now you have to wait a few moments. Okay, there you have a warning triangle. Connection failed, click for more information. So click on it, and there, invalid self-signed certificate. Do you want to accept self-signed certificate for the server even though it would decrease security? Okay, it's on your local network, so no worries there. So you're connected to your XCP-ng host. So if you go to home and hosts, you see your only host that you have for the moment in your environment. In my case, I only have one, and because you only have one is also the master. Thus the memory is already taking up. So if you click on it, you will see more information. So this is the memory used by the XCP-ng system. So, and this is what's leaving unused to create or to assign to virtual machines. We need now to create our storage where we can find our ISOs to create our virtual machines with. So when we click on storage, select host, we are connecting our storage to our XCP-ng host. The storage name, I will give it VM ISO, and description OS images or installation media. Select storage type. So for ISOs, you can use 3 forms of storage: local, NFS ISO, or SMB. So in my case, it's SMB. It's a SMB share that's on my TrueNAS core. When all these values are entered, you can enter the settings. So here you have to enter server and share name. So in my case, I can use normally NAS1, or you could enter your IP address and then type the VM share name, then the username to connect with. In my case, I can do it with my username Christophe, and use the password that I have assigned to my account on my TrueNAS core server. And with all this we can create. Okay. I think that I know what the problem is. I will type here my IP address. Because the DNS that I'm using is not my local DNS, so I will have to put the IP address in it. So name resolution is not done correctly. The IP address is 10 for my TrueNAS core server. I will try it again. Okay. So you can see now here what's already installed from on my share. If you go to disks, you can see all the ISOs that are present. So as a demonstration, I will use the Ubuntu Live server. So if you want to create now a new VM, you could do it from here, new VM, or you could go to VMs. There you see as first screen, because there are no VMs created, to create a new VM. Okay, click on it. Select the pool. Okay, there is only one pool, only one server, so XCP-ng host. Template. Let's select the Ubuntu template that corresponds with the ISO that we want to install. If you don't have a template that corresponds with what you want to install, you could use other install media and configure most of the things manually. In most cases, it's never a problem. So we will select this. I will leave the name like this, default entered. Description, okay, I will not mess with it. I will take the maximum of CPU cores that I can. You can do that for every machine. Xenserver will balance it and distribute it internally in a very good way normally. RAM, I will give 2 gigs. Default behavior topology. ISOs, there you have to select the ISO that corresponds with your template or with the operating system that you want to install. In my case, the Ubuntu Live server. Auto-generate Mac if empty. So it's empty, so you will auto-generate. Pool-wide network, okay. I only have one interface, physical interface on my server, and I want it to use that one, so I leave it on pool-wide network associated. Local storage, that's what is on your XCP-ng host. The name of for the storage, created by Xen Orchestra, okay. And I will take 20 gig. With all those settings, you can create. There is a summary here at the bottom, so you have a quick overview. There are also advanced settings, but normally we don't have to touch the advanced settings. So let's create. Template is create. Virtual machining is starting up with the ISO installation as boot. Okay, let's go over to console. Okay, it's booting up. To have a bigger screen, you can click on hide info here at the right. So the info is gone. And you can set the screen a little bit bigger. So it makes the life of most people more easy. So now the installation of Ubuntu is begun. So if you have already installed Ubuntu on other virtualization environments or on a local device, from here on it's the same. So I will enter the values and skip the processes where it takes a certain time to go through. So let's take English as default installation. I will continue without updating the installer. Keyboard layout, we have to use the tab to go in it. Layout, type enter, and I have to choose Belgian, otherwise it will be difficult for me to type something in. And variant is Belgium. Use the tab key to go to done, enter. I will leave it to DHCP for this tutorial, and it was also already selected. Enter on done. Proxy address, I'm not using a proxy, so done. Mirror address is a good selection, it's the Belgian archive. Okay, done. Use the entire disk. Okay, we are not going to mess with no encryption, and done. We are using the default layout, so done. Are you sure we want to continue? Let's select continue. Then you have to enter your credentials to use with the Ubuntu server when you want to log in. The server name, okay, first VM. Pick a username. Let's not over-engineering. Let's not go to the over-engineering to create a username. Choose a password. And confirm your password. And done. Install OpenSSH server. That's always easy to have. And done. I'm not going to install other packages, but here you have immediate overview of what you can select to install when installing a fresh Ubuntu server. Let's go with the tab to done. And the installation is begun. So this is the moment where I will pause the recording and continue when the installation is done. The installation is finished. Now we can reboot the virtual machine by pressing enter. So system is rebooting now. Please to remove the installation medium, then press enter. So here above you have Ubuntu 20 live server AMD ISO. So I will force an eject. And then press enter. Okay. System is rebooting. Let's see what's happening. Okay. Okay, there is the login, but there are still processes starting up. First VM login. So we can try it out. Christoph was the username and then the password. Okay. So the first virtual machine is installed. on our XCP-ng host. If we go to the general information, you see that there is a message, no Xen tools detected. So for now we have to install the Xen tools. So we go back to console. Here you can select your ISOs, but there has to be guest tools ISO. So let's click on this. So this is mounted on the CD-ROM. It's not a block device. Def CD-ROM on media. It's write protected. Let's go to media. ls Linux. And there we have to execute install. We will do this with sudo. Yes. Then we have to reboot this. Sudo reboot. Let's make this a little bit bigger. Okay, let's go to general, not the general tab. And now we have information that it's Ubuntu installed. We have the IP address, auto virtualization with power virtualization drivers enabled, and the creation date. So we have a lot of more information. So this was the first virtual machine completely installed on an XCP-ng host, ready to use now. For the other features that we have in Xenserver console mode, I will make other videos. It's if somebody is interested in a video on how to create your first VM with the Windows Center application, leave a comment. Here you see all the tabs that exist. So if you don't want that if you want that your server boots when you are starting up or rebooting your XCP-ng host, you have to click the auto power on button. For the rest, it's something that we have to discuss in other videos. So if there are questions about what's possible in Xen Orchestra, please leave a comment. If you're interested in videos like this, don't forget to subscribe. And always happy to help or to create other video tutorials. See you next time.